welcome to the next YouTube live session. My name is Agnes Hu. I'm a junior living in Wilson House. I'm majoring in history and sociology, and I use she, her pronouns.
Hi everyone, welcome back if you tuned in last time. If you didn't, welcome. I'm Iris Agnes. I'm a sophomore here at Smith. I live in Park House and I'm a government major. And I use she, her pronouns.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about academics. So Smith is really known for being an open curriculum school. So what that means is that you only have one requirement. There are no gen eds like some of the other schools. So our requirement is that you have some form of writing intensive class in your first year. So you can fulfill that really easily. It can be either in your first semester or your second semester at Smith. You can take a first-year seminar, and there are so many really great first-year seminars offered at Smith, or you can take an English class. Yeah, and some of the first-year seminars are actually really, really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what you took. What did you take?
Ooh, I took reacting to the past.
You took reacting? I
Yes,
took
I did.
reacting.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so reacting
We'll
to
get
the
into that.
past is like this really cool class where essentially you do historical role play. It's really intense though.
It's fun, yeah.
It's really
Lots
fun.
of speeches and
Yes.
doing fun projects outside of class and
Yeah, it really pushed me.
changing the outcome of history.
Yeah,
as you
we
know, which is
definitely
fun.
changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
So although we don't have any gen ed requirements, we do have something called Latin honors. So for Latin honors, you have to take a class within the 7 fields, and if you take a class, and if you get 4 credits in every field, you can, like for example, for art, I took like 1 2-credit class and 2 1-credit classes to get to that 4-credit requirement. But if you fulfill it at the end, when you graduate from Smith, you get like an additional honor.
Yeah, and when it comes to open curriculum, when we say that there's no requirements besides the writing intensive, we mean proceeding declaring your major. Once you declare your own major, that has its own requirements to fulfill the major. But as an undeclared student, then the only real requirement you have is the writing intensive. Going into more academics, when you start off at Smith, you are given a liberal arts advisor who may not be in your particular field of study if you know what you already want to study, but they're there to just give you advice on how to navigate academics and picking your classes. They give you a registration code so that you can actually sign up for your classes, and you can always run by them with any questions you have about how to distribute your classes throughout your 4 years, or if you're looking to try a new subject, they're always there with new recommendations, so that's great. After you declare your major though, you have a major advisor who is in your field of study and can help you out with that. And I just declared my major, so I just moved on from my liberal arts advisor to my major advisor. Some majors will not give you a choice on who to choose for your advisor. For example, geosciences, they have 1 professor for each year, and if you, for example, if you're a sophomore declaring geosciences as your major or minor, you just go to the particular professor who's assigned to your year. So it makes it pretty straightforward. So.
But yeah, if you want to keep your liberal arts advisor as your advisor for your major, that's totally fine,
That's fine
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes it simpler. Yeah, so there's just a lot of options with majors and minors. Smith offers like a lot of things to major and minor in. And we also have things like concentrations and the 5-college certificate because we're in the 5-college consortium. So for the 5-college certificate, it has certain requirements that you can also find online. All this stuff can be found online, the specific requirements for all the majors, minors, certificates, and concentrations. So for the 5-college certificate, you can take classes within the 5-college consortium to fulfill your 5-college certificate. For your majors, I believe there's a limit on how many classes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
I believe it's 12 credits, but of course, you can always find this information online
Mhm.
on the registrar's page and on the Five College page. So, we also have concentrations, which are not the same as a minor, but it does have fewer classes than a major would require. The interesting thing the interesting thing about concentrations is that they require 2 internships to fulfill them. So you have a lot of practical experience that comes with these classes, and some of our concentrations include museum studies, book studies, archives. Um, I think community engagement is one of them as well.
Yeah.
So you can go out into the field, and not only do they encourage you, it's required. So you can find lots of different ways to find internships through that way, and you can always find an interesting intersection between whatever your major is and whatever your concentration is.
Mhm. Yeah, and the cool thing about the 5 college certificates and the concentrations is that they offer like even more options. So I was looking at doing a 5 college certificate for like Asian American studies, which isn't offered at Smith as a major. So it's really cool to like look at all the different options through the certificates and concentrations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I am a history and sociology double major. Double majoring is pretty nice and simple at Smith, just because we are an open curriculum class and you don't have to worry about fulfilling all the gen ed requirements. I actually really came into Smith without any idea of what I wanted to do with my life or what I wanted to major in even. I think my first semester I took like 4 wildly different classes. I took like Reacting to the Past, which is a history class. I took a philosophy class, I took a French class, and I took a statistics class. So I was kind of out there, but it really helped me figure out what I wanted to do. Just like having that option to like take all these different classes and explore was really, really helpful in for me trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Yeah, and so the history major is really nice. The thing with the history major that might be a little bit different to other majors is that in addition to having certain classes that are required and then some other like outside classes, you also need a field of concentration. So you can sort of format your own field of concentration. But my field of concentration in the history major is women's history. So you have to take a certain amount of classes that are focused specifically on women's history. It can also be like geographical, like if you want to study Asian history, that's an option as well. Yeah, and the sociology major is fairly straightforward. And there's a certain amount of classes that are required, and yeah. So, should we answer a couple questions then?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So Emma says, "Hey, I lead my school's a cappella group, and I'm wondering what you guys know about the a cappella groups at Smith. Are there many?"
Funny you should ask, because I am in an a cappella group here at Smith. I am in the Smithereens, and we are one of, I believe, okay, we have the Smithereens,
Smith and
we have the
Poofs?
Smith and Poofs, we have the Vibes,
The
we have
Notables?
the Notables, we have Groove. Black Capella
They're
is,
not as consistent. I
is
think.
less of an a cappella group in terms of like having
Regular jams and
and
stuff.
things
Okay.
like that. They do certain performances throughout the year, but it's
Is there-
more of a unity org
Okay,
in a way.
yeah. I think there's only 5.
And then we have Crapapella for people
Oh,
who can't sing
how could we
but
forget
love to perform.
Crapapella?
They are fantastic.
Crapapella's honestly great.
Yeah. So we have many a cappella groups. We have auditions at the beginning of each semester, and there will be an opportunity in the beginning of the year to hear every group. So if you wanna, every group has their own quirks and certain genres that they like to sing. So you can figure out what you want to audition for. It's all very consolidated, so you can run from one audition to another very quickly, and it's really fun. It's a time commitment, but everyone is very relaxed about it, but of course devoted to it.
Mhm.
And we tend to have jams once per semester, and we do away gigs at other colleges and for Smith clubs for alums around the area. And yeah.
Yeah, spring weekend and winter
Spring
weekend
and
too.
winter weekend. Houses book us and we will sing. And
Yeah.
it's a fun time.
It's really, really nice. I really like the Smithereens.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
I'm not biased, but the Smithereens are the best group, so join us. And you don't have to know how to read music, so.
Which is nice.
Mhm.
So Maria asks, can you tell me about any internships Smith offers, possibly computer science? I don't know a lot about computer science since my focuses are more like humanities and like social sciences. But Smith, at the very least, offers you a lot of opportunities to find internships. The Lazar Center really works with you to help you find internships all over the place, and gives you resources online to help like search for internships.
They email listings
yeah.
pretty much every day, and so
Yeah.
you never know what you find in your inbox might pertain to your major, it might not. But I know one of my teammates from volleyball is a computer science major. She this past summer interned at NASA through Smith, so
Oh, so cool.
that is one thing you can do amongst many others. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also something called Praxis. So with Praxis, each student is guaranteed. I think the money they're giving is rising to $3,000.
Yeah, I heard it's increasing.
Yeah. So every student is guaranteed $3,000 to help you pay for the costs of doing an unpaid internship. So this way, everyone has the opportunity to do an internship at their time here at Smith.
Domestically or abroad.
Yes,
So.
yeah, and if you go abroad to the price, the
Yeah,
money
get more
given
money
is-
because there's more
even
travel
greater.
expenses.
yeah, which is really nice. And I haven't used my Praxis yet, but I am
Me neither.
fully intending to
Yep.
this summer. So Laura asks, which 5 college classes have been your faves? Which schools have you taken them at? So I am currently taking a UMass class, and I took a UMass class last semester as well. So I only have 2 really that I can talk about, but I've really been enjoying them. It's really nice to like get off campus and get a feel for how the other colleges work as well. And honestly, the UMass food is like amazing. They have like the #1, like I think they were voted #1 best campus food, and like it's so real. I'm so happy to have sushi like every day I go there. Every single day I go there, I just get sushi. But yeah, beyond just the food, the classes are really interesting. UMass just has a different environment from Smith, and I like really noticed that, and it's really cool to like see all these different class environments. And UMass also has a lot of things offered, again, like the Asian American studies that like Smith doesn't necessarily have. So it's really cool to be able to take classes that are like that would otherwise be unavailable to you if you were just at Smith.
I haven't taken any 5 college classes yet. I was hoping to this semester, but it just didn't work out. But I'm hoping to take hopefully 1 political science class next semester. We'll see where. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I think one thing that I've heard from a lot of people who've taken 5 college classes is that it helps you like switch things up in terms of
Yeah.
environment. So even if you find out that the class you're taking isn't really in the way that best suits your learning, then it kind of helps you appreciate what Smith has more.
Yeah.
But of course, the registrar is very helpful, and if you need help getting into a certain class, they're always pretty speedy about contacting you.
Yeah, and the process for signing up for a 5 college class is pretty simple as well. When you just sign up, although I think your first year, it is unlikely that you'll be able to take a class off campus. But usually like later on, like once you get used to like the Smith situation, it might be better to like try and like, well, you don't have to either, but if you want, it's also nice to try and take a 5 college class. But when you sign up for one, it's when you sign up for your regular classes at Smith, you just scroll all the way down. There's a little link at the bottom that might be a little small. You just click on it, fill out the information, and the registrar will take a look at the class. Yeah, it's a pretty easy process overall. I found it really nice. So Hannah asks, how was adjusting to Smith academically freshman year? What advice would you give? Ooh,
That's a good question.
that is a good question. Freshman year was so long ago for me. No, that's not true. I'm just being dramatic. At the very least, for me, I kind of came into Smith not really knowing what I wanted to do at all. And again, with the open curriculum, it was really advantageous for me to be able to like explore a bunch of very, very different classes because I didn't know if I wanted to do STEM. I didn't think I was, but you never know. And I did think I was going to go into the humanities, but I wasn't sure like exactly what kind of thing was going to suit me the best. And so my biggest advice is to explore. The open curriculum is there so you can explore all these wonderful classes that Smith has. I also would suggest that you try and push yourself. I came into Smith like very shy and like I really hated speaking up in class. And for me, taking Reacting to the Past really pushed me beyond what I could even imagine myself being like. And like I had to give like speeches all the time and I was talking to all these people I didn't know all the time. And it was really hard, but I really learned a lot in my first semester. So I would just say try and push yourself to do something you wouldn't normally do and try a bunch of really different classes.
That's honestly what I would say too. My second semester, first year, I was taking a religion class, I was taking a French class, I was taking a government class, and I was also taking, a geoscience class.
Whoa.
And I was just trying to figure out if I wanted to do something else with government or how I wanted that to intersect with the rest of my learning. And it helped me out by knowing that I didn't really want to do any of those things along with government, but I like all those subjects, so. Do you want to do this one or should I answer this one?
Which one?
To me.
You can answer.
Okay. Cool, I'll answer this one. So it says, Iris, was it a big adjustment to go from high school athletics to college? The good thing about Division III is that they prioritize academics first. So it's kind of like high school. You do all of your classes. If you need to take the day off because you're overwhelmed with work, your coaches are not going to object. They'll let you do what you need to do and get back to work when you're ready. And the recruiting process was very straightforward. I contacted the coaches myself and we just talked back and forth, and when I was able to visit campus, the volleyball team hosted me and they showed me around and I got to watch practice. So it was a great opportunity to get to see how they balance academics and athletics. And in terms of actual practices, it is definitely a push because it is so competitive. People would think that Division III is less competitive than Division I, but that really isn't the case. People put a lot of effort into what they're doing, and so it's great, but there's also more flexibility with people's experience levels. So I never played club volleyball because I just couldn't afford it, and I have teammates who were able to play club volleyball, but we help each other out and we meet each other where we're at. So, and I also do high jump on the track team, and I've been doing that for much longer, but it's still okay for me to try new events even though I'm in college. So yeah, great transition.
Hey, so Emma asks, are either of you involved in journalism at Smith / on the newspaper?
I wish I was. I just
Yeah.
don't have time for it.
Yeah, I'm also not involved, but we do have a school newspaper called the Sophian, and
Yes,
they
we
produce
do.
like really interesting news articles. I always love picking it up. whenever I see it, when I walk into Sealy, just like reading it before
Yeah.
class.
And we have some literary journals on campus as
Mhm.
well, so you can contribute to that if you would like to.
Yeah, if you are interested in getting involved, when you come to Smith, I would highly suggest just emailing them, and we'll also have like the org fair at the very beginning
Yes.
of fall semester, where you can like walk around and look at other different organizations at Smith campus, and they will happily tell you everything you need to know about
Mhm.
their org.
You
Yeah.
can sign up for the email list
Mhm.
right then and there.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, so a lot of options. Let's see. So Catherine asks, how difficult is it to double major at Smith in comparison to a traditional single major? I The only thing with being a double major, I suppose, is that you sort of need to think very strategically about what classes you need to take. Um, for example, because I'm a history and sociology double major, there are a couple of semesters where I just take 2 history classes and 2 sociology classes. But that's what I enjoy, and so personally, I'm pretty happy. Um, for single majors, it's nice to be able to like explore a lot of other classes, even when they've already declared, I guess. But so it's honestly not that difficult. For some majors, it might be a lot harder, like engineering, which has very specific requirements.
Bio and East Asian studies, for example.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit harder than, say, sociology and history, but
Yeah.
I've heard of people who do STEM and art. So.
Yeah, it's you just need to plan it out. If you're very sure about it, plan it out as soon as possible. But honestly, after this semester, I will be done with my history major requirements, and next semester I will be done with my sociology major requirements. So yeah, it's not as hard as it might sound like.
And one requirement is that you have to graduate, you have to have 64 credits of classes outside of your major.
Yeah, so that might be a little hard for some majors that overlap a lot. My friend Naomi is a psych and neuroscience major, and because of that, she has to be very careful about taking a lot of credits that are like completely outside of psych and neuroscience because the two overlap a lot. So you just need to be aware of like how they overlap, and I would definitely recommend talking to your liberal arts advisor or major advisor.
That's what they're there for.
Yep.
For what? Which
Okay.
one? This one. Okay. Madison asks, "Hi, I am a U.S. citizen, but I have never lived in the United States. I'm looking to apply to Smith and wanted to know if I should apply as U.S. student or international." That's a good question. I mean, we're both U.S. students, so we
Yeah.
applied domestically, and I don't have dual citizenship, but I would say I do have teammates who are dual citizens, and they applied as U.S. citizens. But depending on what paperwork you need for a U.S. application, if you don't have those, then you should contact the admissions office and talk through it with them. So, best of luck.
Yeah. All right. So Molly asks, what are your study abroad experiences like, if you have had any, or do you plan on it?
Yeah, I just sent in my application for study abroad in Geneva, so we will see if I am studying abroad. So I do plan to study abroad, and I think that our Lewis Global Studies Center has a lot of good resources. For example, they have a huge binder filled with student reviews after they come back from wherever they chose to study abroad, and it helps you know what kind of classes people took when they were abroad, what kind of amenities they had, because obviously the housing system isn't going to be identical to Smith's, and Smith's is pretty unique. And just how the classroom environment was and what they liked and disliked about each program. So Geneva is a Smith program, specific, like it's run by Smith. So that has a lot more applicants and a lot more reviews than, say, a Smith-approved program from another college. So sometimes it's easier to talk to people who you heard have just come back from study abroad, and it really helps to go to study abroad fairs, see what you can find.
Yeah, I am a junior and I did not study abroad, but that was a personal choice. I think it's around 50-50 students who do go abroad and students who don't go abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing. When you go study, if you want to do study abroad, you also have to make sure that you're able to complete your major.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go study abroad. What I did do is I did a global flex program, so that's a faculty-led experience program, I think is what it stands for. So that was really cool. So I went to Russia this J-term. So for almost 3 weeks, I was in Russia. We went to Moscow first, and then we went to St. Petersburg. And that for me was kind of like a very short study abroad. I didn't think I wanted to commit myself to like a full semester studying abroad. And so for me, having this Global Flex program was sort of the solution to that. So we did take classes while we were there. We took 3 classes. One of them was about international relations, one of them was about Russian history, one of them was more like cultural anthropology stuff. There's just, I feel like there's just a lot of options with studying abroad. So yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that another popular J-term study abroad program is going to India
That's a
for
big
all
one.
J-terms, so that one is really cool.
Yeah,
And
there's just a lot of options. There's so
yeah,
many places.
even if you can't study abroad during the year, Smith will work with you to study abroad in the summer if you want, because I know people who have studied abroad in Costa Rica and lots of other places, just because they couldn't fit it in during the school year. And that's fine, because some majors have a lot of requirements and it's hard to fit them all in.
Yeah. Okay, so we have time for one more question. I'll do this one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Maria asks, are the classes more lecture-based or discussion-based? And so that definitely depends on the class. I feel like most of my Smith professors have done their best, even when it technically says it's a lecture class. They usually try and balance it so that it has days that are more lecture-based, and then a couple of days where it's more discussion-based. That's been my experience, though, especially in like the history major. There's just a lot of for at least I think the humanities, there's just a lot that it's just nice to have like professors who are like more open to having like discussions. And my experience has always been that there's always like space being made for discussions.
Yeah, for me as a government major, all of my lectures have had a lot of discussion in them, just because we're all part of society and it's a social science, so there's a lot to contribute to. And for some of my other classes, they've been separated into a lecture, and then there's a discussion once a week or a lab once a week. And even with those, even though there's time set aside to discuss things later in the week, we'll still take time to talk during the actual lecture as well. So there's opportunities regardless of what it's labeled as.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I'm sorry we couldn't get to everyone's questions, but
Next time, thanks for joining us. Bye.